All right, hey everybody. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I'm out here again at the barn, still working on this log bed. Y'all, the rain's been pounding the crap out of us. So I've been having to work in between rain and just getting stuff done here and there. I wanted to get a video out earlier this week, but it just didn't work out like I wanted it to. For one, it was raining, and I didn't want to show you any more on what I already had done because y'all have already seen that. But the next step to the equation is building these log stands, the bolsters, and the bolster being the bottom right here, and then the stands, let's see, right there and there. Okay, I want to take you over here and let you see one that I've already got finished. I've got one done. I'm working on this one this afternoon, and then I've got two more to do tomorrow, and then I should be in pretty good shape. But as you can see, I've got this one finished, and I'm gonna flip the camera around right quick so I can get y'all some up close shots of it. Okay, so I've got this sucker leaned up against the hitch rail over here. It's heavy, that's for sure. I had to pick it up with a skid steer to get it over here. But anyway, just kind of give you all a gist. Now it's upside down right now, obviously. This part is what's gonna mount on these babies. These are the I-beams that are going to be mounted on the bottom of the bed. In other words, the bed's going to run this way, and then this thing, there's going to be 4 of them, and they're going to be turned going across like that. Okay, you'll have a headache rack down there on that end, and then 4 bolsters and stands, which is what these babies are, going across. And on this, you can kind of see I've got the 6-inch tubing. This is 6-inch tubing, a 1/2-inch wall. Let me get y'all right up here where you can kind of see it. See how it's put together. Hopefully y'all can see that other doubler. It took a lot of welding. My welder is a 220 volt Lincoln MP 210 MIG using flux core wire, 35,000. Even up on its high setting with 35,000 wire, I still had to lay quite a few stringers in here to fill it up. And I wanted to make sure that it was welded good and solid. With these stiffener plates, for sure, to get it good and solid where it wouldn't break apart, when they go to unload us at the sawmill. I don't want my stands bending or breaking, and that's what the doubler plates are for on the front and the back. So what I'm going to show you today is kind of how I've been putting these bunks together, these stands, bolsters and stands together. It's kind of a tedious process to get everything squared up. That's the main thing. You got to get it all squared up and tacked up. And then after that, it's just welding, just repeated welding, bead after bead after bead. Y'all saw how much weld I put on those doubler plates. It's a lot, especially with my welder. It's not a real big welder, so you can't go in there and make one solid pass and be done with it. You got to stack them, stringers. So I think y'all got the idea. These are going to go on the truck frame. Then the bolsters, which is this, they're going to be turned across those I-beams going this way. And I want to go out here and show y'all the headache rack. I got it out here at the log trucks. All right, I got the log trucks parked out here beside each other. I was kind of hoping that old Red there might give Big Red a little bit of education, a little bit of advice. Big Red's been more miles, but old Red's been in the woods a lot more. So hopefully they'll talk between each other and get it hammered out. But I had to move the headache rack out here to get it out of the way. I don't know how well y'all be able to see it. This is the front side, I believe. Yeah, because I have not welded up these spots yet. Now on the other side, it's completely finished. I've got all the cracks welded up and everything. It's done. And it will sit on the truck just like it sits. Down here at the bottom, it's got some 8-inch pieces from this right here down and right here down, and those will mount on the frame rails. And let me show you over here on red, big red. You see the frame rails? So one I-beam will set here, one I-beam will set here, and then of course your headache rack is set up here on the front and be right up behind the cab. And then of course, naturally, the rest of it goes on down the bed of the truck. And old red is kind of set up similar to this. See, he's got an I-beam right here, and then H-beam coming across for the bolsters. Okay. And then, you know, here's his headache rack on the front. All right, now I'm back out here at the barn, and the first thing that we've got to do is we've got to take the torch and come right in here and cut out just a little 1/2 inch piece of this. And the reason for that is because this H-beam from right here to here is 6.5 inches, and this tubing is 6 inches outside to outside. So we need to cut that little piece out right in here to let this tubing set up in there real tight against these this part here, and they'll make good. And I'm going to take y'all along and show y'all that, and it'll tie in good together. So we got to do that first on both sides, on this side and on this side, and that'll be the only torch work we got to do. And then after that, it's just going to be getting it nice and square and tacking it together. All right, now the first thing we got to do on this deal is we got to measure off a 1/2 inch, because that's about how deep I need my little piece cut out. And I'm gonna make several marks on here because I can't get a straight edge in there to draw a line with. So what I'm gonna do is just I'm just gonna kind of sketch in between. This ain't got to be perfect, and I'm not gonna get it perfect with the torch no how. All right, now I'm going to go to the other side, do the exact same thing. I'm not going to show you all that just because I want to speed the video along. But we got to notch both sides out, and then I'm going to take a grinder and clean it up. First thing that we're going to do, I've already got it up here. I've got the tubing. You know, we notched out the H-beam where the tube would fit into it, okay? I've shimmed it up with a 1/4 inch plate right here on the bottom. That's to pick it up because it's going to be off 1/4 of an inch on each side. Okay, you're going to have a 1/4 on the bottom and a 1/4 on the top. Remember, the H-beam is 6 1/2. The tubing is 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this shim plate right here like this, and then when I put my gusset over the top of it, it'll go like that. Okay, and I've already got an angle cut on the shim plate on this side, so it matches the angle of my gusset plate, and it will fill in the gap between the H-beam and the tubing, and then we'll weld it solid. I'll move it up here about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch from the edge, so I got plenty of ledge right here to weld to, and we'll just keep welding and building it up and up until we get into the 1/2 inch plate to where it'll hold good and strong. And then we've also got that shim stock on there to hold it and keep it from flexing, and also give us something to weld to. These gusset plates are 1/2 inch thick steel, and let me just show you a plate here. I've got these 1 foot by 1 foot square plates that I had the steel mill cut me, and then I just cut them in half, you know, a 45-degree half, and basically that gives me this. Now I got to clean this up with a grinder sort of fit flush. I've cut it with a torch. You know, you want to take time and get everything cleaned up good where to fit down flush. That's very important. But the main thing, I had to take my time on shimming to get this tubing in line with this H-beam. Once I got it shimmed up to where it was the right height up and down with the shim plate underneath, then I used my square in here like this. On the inside, I squared it to make sure that the tubing was square with the H-beam. So that way they'll stand straight up and not bowed out or in or none of that crap. This is a bed that I'm going to use the rest of my life. Lord willing, I'll have Big Red from now on. And you know, I don't do a lot of trading and selling and buying and all that mess. When I get something, I tend to keep it. So with that being said, you know, we're doing stuff like this to ensure that we get a good, solid bed. I don't want to have to come back and work on the thing. And if I do have to work on it, I'm not going to work on it very much. But the next dimension that I had to get was I had to make sure that the tubing was aligned this way. Okay, with the H-beam. H-beam's here, tubing's here. I wanted to make sure I got it aligned this way. And lay that 1/4 inch shim stock up on there. And you can see it's not touching anywhere, you know, in the middle, so it's good and flat. And what I had to do is I had to add shims over here, and let me grab the camera, bring y'all over here where you can see. You see those shim plates right up under that? Let me get you around here maybe where you can see better. And I had to jack it up pretty good, you know, to get it shimmed up level. You know, doing the framing part, the shimming and getting it straight and all, that's the hardest part really. Because, you know, that's the most tedious, time-consuming part. Once I get it shimmed and ready for the doublers, the backing plates, doublers, stiffeners, whatever you want to call it, the first thing I'll do before I put the backing plates on, I'll come in here and I'll fill this crease in with weld. All right, and then I'm gonna weld on the inside, and this is just where the H-beam meets the tube. I'm just welding the tubing to the H-beam. Now, if you didn't put a gusset plate over it, that weld wouldn't hold. The first time a big loader put some pressure on it, it will snap it right off. Or if you got a log on it just right, it will snatch it right off. So that's why I'm gonna weld this first. That's gonna really stiffen it up good. And then the Big Daddy from Cincinnati is these deals right here. When I put them on there, like that, you could park a D6 bulldozer on it. It'll be just fine. So I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna lay a bead in here and down here in the inside and on the bottom. We're gonna go ahead and do that. and then we'll put the doublers on and weld them in. Now I found on this new steel, it's still got the mill scale on it. With flux core wire, if you'll take a wire wheel and just kind of clean it up a little bit, that'd be good enough. It's really important every time you make a pass on this flux core to go back and clean all that slag off, because you don't have shielding gas with flux core. Flux core wire is very similar to stick welding. You know, you're going to have that slag on there, and you want to go back and clean all that mess off before you lay another stringer. Now you can see, I don't know how well y'all can see it from there. I'll try to zoom it in a little for you. But you can see all that slag on there. We take this wire wheel. That wire wheel cleans it up pretty nice. I'm gonna have to make one more pass in there. The wind's blowing. And when you're out here in the wind welding, it's hard to get a good solid weld every single time. It's got a couple little small pinholes in it. It's not bad at all. And like I said, y'all, I'm not no souped up professional welder. I can get by. My welds ain't the prettiest, but they do hold. Never had no trouble with them breaking. But with that being said, I'll have to come back and lay another stringer on it. And then once we flip them over to the other side, we'll do the same thing on that side before we lay the gusset plates on it. All right, y'all. I've got the tube is welded to the H-beam now, bottom, top, all the way around, except for the back side, of course, because we got to flip it over to weld it. And we'll do that before we put the doubler on the other side. With that being said, though, our shim plate needs to go first. And then we need to clean up this 1/2-inch plate where I've cut it with the torch. We need to clean it up with the grinder. We need to clean it up with the grinder, and then we'll be ready to put it on. You want to get all that slag and stuff off though, because if you don't, it won't sit down flush. It just cause you problems. Now I've got a grind function on my welding helmet that lets me see through and it don't, darken it out too bad. It's a pretty neat function of this helmet. I like this helmet pretty good. I've got 2 helmets, and this is, I ain't gonna say it's my favorite, but I like it pretty good anyway. takes a little time doing stuff like this, but it sure makes a difference later on. Like I say, you'll get it and it won't be flat, and then next thing you know, it won't be, you know, you won't be able to get welds where you need to get the welds at. It's just aggravating. It's best to take your time and try to get it right. Let's see. Like I say, I want to leave me a little ledge right here on the end. I'm going to leave me just a little bit more than that. I like to leave me a little ledge right here on this side, so that way I got plenty of room to put me a filler weld all the way around it. All right, that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack it right here. Now I gotta remember to turn my grind function off on my helmet, because it will it'll blind me with the welder. Ask me how I know. Now running these beads all the way around this thing, it takes time, y'all, so I'm not gonna show y'all all that because it's just too time consuming. It'll make the video too long. But I want y'all to get the idea of what I'm going through to do this. I am gonna split one of these plates with a torch here in a minute and show y'all how I cut the plates with the torch. But I just don't want to drag the video out too long, if that makes any sense. Didn't work quite like I wanted to. All right, that's a lot better. Okay, so right quick, I'm gonna turn the camera around and I'm gonna show y'all me splitting a plate, so that way you kind of get an idea on that. And really, I mean, y'all pretty much seen the process behind it. It takes a lot of time, you know, putting stringers around this thing, because you gotta put a stringer, you gotta put your root pass in first, then you gotta come back and start laying stringers, you know, all the way around it. And it's just time consuming. It takes about, I think I've been putting about five or six stringers all the way around it. So it takes a little time to get it done. But basically you see the gist of what I'm doing. After I get this one on, I've got to flip it over. Well, actually, first of all, I'll stand it upright and I'll make my weld on the inside in here first. Then I'll go ahead and flip it on over and I'll put the double plates on the other side, on the back side. Do the same exact process on the back side, if that makes any sense. All right, y'all, first thing that I gotta do is draw me a line. And I'm gonna mark it using soapstone. Soapstone shows up real good on steel. It shows up real good, and you can cut it with a torch, and the soapstone will still be there. I'm gonna hold this up where y'all can see it. See my diagonal line across it? Okay. Now, I'm just gonna set it right up here. Vice grip it down. I can cut pretty straight with a torch, But I don't want to be pretty straight. I want to be sure enough straight. You know what I mean? So I put me a little fence up here, a little guide, if you will, for my torch to run across. Now, you know, this torch head is wide, so I have to offset it from the line about 3/4 of an inch or so to make it run true. And I'm just doing a dry run right now to make sure it is going to run true. And yes it is. Now, naturally, since I'm trying to video, my torch was going to cause me some trouble. It's a pretty good torch. It's a Victor Journeyman. When I bought this torch, I went in the air gas welding supply, and I told the guy, I said, hey, I need a torch. He said, what kind you want? I said, I want the baddest one you got. I want the supercharged model. And he set me up with that Victor Journeyman, and buddy, let me tell you, it'll cut 1 inch steel like it ain't nothing. I mean, it's a good torch. But I dropped it in the dirt a while ago, and I'm sure I stopped the tip up a little bit. But anyway, it's cutting pretty good, and I got a pretty clean cut, as y'all can see. You know, it's not a lot of slag on it. It'll be easy to clean up with a grinder. It's good and straight, and that's what I want. So now I'm gonna let them just cool off for a while I go ahead and weld up this other piece. But look, y'all, I just want to tell you thank you for hanging out with me. This is a pretty good little chore, getting this log bed built. I'm going to wind up having probably 2 weeks in it, time I get through. The next video, we're going to be setting the stands on the frame and setting the headache rack on the frame. And then probably the video after that will be painting everything. And then the video after that will be setting it on the log truck. So we're going to be busy with that. I do got some ideas on some other videos that I'm going to throw in the mix. So y'all just kind of be patient with me while we roll through this. But look, thank you. Thank all of you for being here. If you've enjoyed this video, hit that like button for me. You know, it's free content. and it'll help me out. It'll help our videos get circulated a lot better. And if you like what we're doing here on the channel, you know, if you like gardening and mules and logging and timber cutting and chainsaws and torches and welders and big trucks and all that good stuff, if you like that kind of stuff, hey, subscribe for me. That'll help us out too. Look, as always, I'm gonna put my email up here on the screen. Any of you need me, holler at me. Be glad to talk to you. And I'm gonna be praying for you, each and every one of you. If you're hearing my voice, you're seeing my face right now, I'm gonna be praying for you, I promise. Y'all take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.